All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be taking our front-end designed website and we're going to be connecting an automated CMS system into the back of it. So we can focus on automated publishing and get some articles moving again, because ultimately this has been sat stale for 6 months plus, just gathering dust on Framer. And in my last video, I basically one-shot transferred this over to my own code base. But the problem is I don't have any backend. I don't have a CMS system. I have no way of actually publishing new content. So we're kind of stuck. So in this video, what I want to do is put Claude and AI to the test and see if we can one-shot a beautiful CMS system so we can go into fully autonomous content publishing, and then we can move into actually generating and building a CRM system, which is also completely vibe coded. So for those of you that haven't been following along, what we do at Brave Brand is we build digital homes for our clients, which are essentially digitally sovereign backends and front ends, so you and your clients can completely control and own your code base, your data, your analytics, everything, and not be reliant on any external subscriptions or platforms who ultimately dictate what you're going to be doing. All right, so this is all about a push and a play to digital sovereignty. In the last video, we were escaping the confines of Framer, and in today's video, we're going to be focusing on building the backend and the system around this website. All right, so what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to go over to Claude, and this is in the same project that I set the Brave Brand website up in. So what I'm going to do now is just switch to Fable. You can see I've been absolutely wrecking my Fable credits. All right, so this thing spends and burns credits way too fast in my opinion, and it's just it's really quite frustrating, even though it's been incredibly powerful. So what I've actually done is I've created a workflow and a specific skill that allows Fable to be the strategist and the orchestrator, and it calls on Codex GPT 5.5 to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So hopefully we'll be able to get this done within our 10% credit for the rest of the week, because we're only on Flippin' Wednesday, and that's about 5 days we're going to be hanging dry for. One thing as well, and this is through Anthropic's own guidance, is that when you are prompting Fable, and I found this quite interesting, is that they specifically say and encourage you to tell Fable why you are doing something. Because when you give it that extra context, apparently it makes a difference. So that's what we're going to try today. Okay. We recently transferred our bravebrand.com site to our own code base, which is now hosted on Cloudflare. In today's session, I want to focus on getting our CMS system set up so we can start auto-generating and auto-publishing content directly to the front end of our site that is SEO and GEO optimized, so that we can try and improve the organic inbound leads that we are getting from AI search and organic Google search. I'm going to give you a specific backend repo which details the plumbing that I would like you to follow, because we have a very specific content writing and content publishing workflow baked into this repository. So I want you to review it, and I want you to install it into this front end so we can orchestrate and publish content completely autonomously through the backend into the front end and increase our organic traffic through Google and GEO. Okay, so that prompt is in. I've given it a little bit of why. And so what I'm going to do now is just go over to my GitHub, where you'll see I've got a digital home backend repository here. Now, for those of you that don't understand what a digital home is, essentially a digital home is your front end, which is the public facing website, and your back end, which contains your CMS system and your CRM system. We've already built this entire infrastructure and all of the plumbing, which says what the database is going to be, etc., etc. So the problem is we're doing this kind of backwards because the front end's already created, but it's not been created with this in mind. So I'm going to take the back end and I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to paste this over into Claude, and I'm going to give it the context. All right. And I'm also just going to say here, please use the Codex workflow for this. Okay. Which essentially means that Fable is going to do the thinking, the strategy behind this, and it's going to orchestrate Codex to do a lot of the heavy grunt work. Now, in regards to this digital home setup, this is exactly the process that we take people through step by step inside of our school community. All right, so if you're building new sites from scratch, or if you want to learn how to sell this as a service to your clients, then the school community is the best place for you to start, because we've got a step-by-step process that guides you through every step of the way. So if you're a web designer who is used to designing, pixel pushing, etc., learning how to build this system, back end, front end, is going to increase your value in the marketplace, because you're going to be getting a plug and play system that you can ultimately resell to other people and add another income stream into your business. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again, designers are incredibly well placed in this new industry. I really believe that designers are actually more important than ever before, but only if you can start learning how to market to and sell the outcomes that your clients are going to be getting, rather than just creating pretty websites, because pretty websites are completely commodified right now. So the digital home thesis is that your clients and yourself are going to own the land you stand on. It's kind of like investing in land 10, 20 years ago, and the value of that is only going to increase as AI gets smarter and as the internet grows and grows and grows. So if you can build your digital home on land you own right now, which is essentially owning your own code base, your own data, etc., you're well on the way to being digitally sovereign, right? So these are open source repos, which you can basically get access to now, but the entire process and guidance on how to set this up properly for yourself and clients is inside of our school community. Now, I'm kind of going on a whim here, and I'm assuming that Fable is smart enough to just pick this up without actually seeing the front end starter, because this website has got nothing to do with that. All right. This is just a pretty looking website that was created on Framer and has now been transferred to my own code base because Fable replicated it in one flipping prompt. All right. So if you want to see that video, here it is. But this is the follow on from that. And I'm hoping that Fable is going to be able to understand the process and execute it, with a little bit of help from Codex. All right, so let's let this work and we'll see how it gets on. So if you want to learn more on how to use Fable as an advisor, I recommend downloading this skill from Pete over here. All right, so you literally just copy and paste this URL, drop it into Fable, and it will install the skill, which will allow Fable to orchestrate and then get Codex to do all of the hard work. Now, obviously, you'll need Codex authenticated on your machine. Slightly more advanced workflow, but honestly, it saves credits and makes your work a lot more efficient because, like I said, I'm burning through Fable credits like it ain't nobody's business. All right, guys, so Claude has been cooking away and it's been doing some really interesting stuff. But it's basically just said, this is kind of freaky, is your entire autonomous publishing loop is verified and live end to end. All right. So I literally didn't touch anything. And it's actually already gone and published an article live on our page following our exact brand voice. It's generated a hero image, questions block, SEO, GEO service confirmed, FAQ page, blah, 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 all up and running. Okay. And it's also created our backend. So let's first and foremost take a look at our articles page live on our site. And you'll see there that we've got an article published. Why your marketing keeps flopping without a brand strategy, image generated end-to-end, article written in our tone of voice, see client results just like this in detail. So it's like pulling from our actual clients. Oh my goodness, which is insane. All right, so that's all coming from our brand's brain, which we've already created, by the way. So this now links to our case studies. We've got a CTA directly to our school community. Holy crap. All right, FAQs, call to action. All right, so that's boshed and done and just implied because of the backend that we've set up. Now, let's take a look at our actual backend for this. So our entire digital home backend has been set up end to end. All right, so you can see here that the backend is essentially our CMS system where we've got this Kanban board view, and Claude's gone and planned a bunch of content already. And you can see the published article that is literally on our front end right now is here. So I can click into this. I can edit the entire thing. I can make changes. I can also unpublish this from my site, but I can see it live and everything works end to end. All right, so let's go for the moment of truth now. So let's see if this will start writing this automatically. All right, so this is essentially the test that happens in the back end of the digital home, is you simply need to take ideas from here that are written through a skill that is inbuilt into the backend repository that I gave Claude Code. So that entire backend repository, it has a bunch of content writing skills and content strategy skills baked into the backend already. So that's how Claude Code actually went out and wrote these ideas. All right, so when you push it into here, this now connects to Claude's API that writes the articles in my brand's tone of voice and publishes it directly to our front end. All right, so that's the autonomous publishing loop, which Claude basically did. And all I had to do was add my Anthropic API key and my OpenAI API key that generates the images. And then it gave me a link for my backend, which I just need to connect onto a proper URL. But the entire process, has literally been set up end to end. All right, so for those of you that are not familiar with the digital home, essentially what has happened is we had a front end at the start of the video. So this is the public website that people see. And we literally dropped in our backend repository and we gave that to Claude, and it connected this. It set up our entire backend. It set up a Supabase account, which is a shared database where all of our articles and content gets stored. So every time the backend writes an article to the Supabase, it publishes automatically onto our front end, and everything is hosted on Cloudflare. And I didn't touch anything, guys. So the beauty of having a digital home is that your front end and your back end is optimized for AI agents to do the editing and the hard yards for you. A lot of people say to me, it's like, oh, but why don't I use Framer or WordPress, etc., etc. The reason being is I don't want to actually go around and drag and drop and click things anymore. I just want my agents to do it for me completely hands off. And that's what a digital home is ultimately all about. And you can see how quickly and easily that was set up. All right, so you can see now this article has been drafted and we can review it. All right, looks good. If we just click view, it shoots us over directly onto our front end. And we've got a perfectly formatted SEO optimized article done and dusted. Bosh. Okay. So you can see that, we're starting to create these topical clusters around our different brands pillars. And now we're back into autonomous publishing. All right. So you can see just like that, we dropped in the backend repo. Claude figured it out. It set up a Supabase account, the shared database between these two sites, and now we're ultimately rocking and rolling. Okay. So we've got this pipeline. I can just push these over here planned. And then the daily schedule, which is set up in GitHub Actions, is just going to write them and publish them because we're on autonomous mode. All right. So that's fantastic. Now, the next test that I want to put Fable to is I wanted to create a fully customized CRM system built for the age of agents. Because frankly, CRM systems today are clunky. They suck. If anytime I get a client into GHL, they go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. All right. So we want to create a completely personalized CRM system, and we're going to bake it into this backend. All right. So it's going to be baked in there with leads, emails. I'm going to let Fable figure out exactly what to do. So my friends, that's going to be the next video. So if you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe, stick around, and we'll share that very, very shortly. But you can see now we've got fully autonomous CMS system working, connected, writing articles to our front end. And now our site can start building up that topical authority and driving some organic leads through SEO and GEO. What a time to be alive, my friend. That is really what I mean by digital sovereignty. It's owning your data, owning your backend, owning your front end, your own code base, and letting agents do the heavy lifting, all right? Because you have better shit to do, like chat to clients, get clients, make money, have fun. So anyway, shut the hell up. I'll see you guys on the next one.